Apparently, we're all producing far too much carbon dioxide. And if you believe the government and many other people, we should be aiming at net zero. In other words, we produce zero carbon dioxide, at least have that carbon dioxide offset. But I can't help thinking that maybe we're not calculating that rather in the right way. I looked it up and I found that the UK, at least, is producing 450 million tons of the stuff every year, which sounds like a huge amount, and it probably is, but it has gone down quite a bit over the previous years, so we're making some progress towards zero carbon. However, have we calculated everything correctly and properly, and have we taken everything into account? I know that when I look outside in the countryside, I see lots of trees, and I know the trees absorb carbon dioxide, and I'm not sure if those have been taken into account much at all. I looked up the amount of carbon dioxide a tree absorbs, and it's quite a considerable amount. We have 3 billion trees in this country, and looking at the figures just roughly on the back of an envelope, I worked out that we are absorbing something like 70 million tons of CO2 from trees alone. I know that's not the same as 450, which we're producing by other processes, but 70 million is a big chunk, isn't it? And on top of that, it's not just trees, it's every green plant. And if you think of how many trees there are, well, there's many, many more bushes and grass and all those other kind of green things, all absorbing carbon dioxide. In fact, on a conservative estimate, I would say, maybe there are 10 times more green things than there are just trees about. I haven't worked that one out, but I'm guessing that's a conservative view. And if that is the case, then we're really absorbing not 70 million tons, but 700 million tons of carbon dioxide, while only producing 450. You might say, well, you've got to balance that out with other things too. I know human beings, we produce about 2 tons of carbon dioxide per person. But if you were to add the 70 million people in this country to that, then what's that? That's 140 million tons. But even that doesn't reach up to the 700 million which the green plants are absorbing all the time. So it seems to me that if you take everything into account, if you take in the plants that we have in this country and also the output that we have, maybe everything is balancing out anyway. In fact, it ought to be balancing out, because if we produce too little carbon dioxide, then all those green plants are going to die because they need that to keep going. And I suppose the world kind of reaches an equilibrium, and it needs to, in order for the amount of carbon dioxide to be put out, because if we don't put out enough, the green plants will die. If we put out too much, then the green plants will grow and thrive, and apparently there's never been as much in the way of green plants growing in the world as there is today. So that's also a good balance. In the end, everything comes down to an equilibrium. And if we take everything into account, I've got a strange feeling that we're already at zero carbon.